I'll see. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Freedom was probably a very busy too.
Well, there's other guy, it's why I forget. Oh, no. Maybe about it. You go home, but not very much.
But that text. Like, I don't know, I can write in the masters. Okay. It's not using it, but it's part of me. Oh,
I got my hand out of that way. I wasn't trust me. All right, I call this meeting to order. I pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mr. Morris,
Here.
Mrs. Thompson, Mr. Gray,
Here.
Mr. Bittner,
Here.
Ms. Wong,
here.
Mr. Elam,
Here.
Mr. Johnson.
Here. Approval of the minutes from the regular meeting of council, April 14th, 2026. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes?
Yes.
Good.
On page 6, I believe that we need to correct the vote record on the meeting adjournment. Mr. Johnson was not in attendance at this meeting, and so a vote on his behalf should not have been recorded. Everyone agree?
Yeah, all right.
So I would make a
I was
motion.
in spirit.
I'm sure you were. I would like to make a motion to amend the April 14 minutes to correct the voting record on adjournment, to remove Mr. Johnson and his reported vote, and change the record to say that the motion carried at 5-0.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, roll call on that motion. Motion to amend on page 6 to remove vote. I vote adjournment. Roll call, please.
Mr. Morris.
Aye.
Mr. Gray,
Aye.
Mr. Bittner,
Aye.
Ms. Wong,
Aye.
Mr. Elam,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Abstain. Any other additions or corrections to the minutes?
I believe my name's been spelled in there. EVA, it should be EVMs.
What is it?
EVE.
Oh,
That's wrong.
Yeah, that's clerical, so we don't have to actually make.
I will fix that.
We can change it.
Change that, but yes. Is there any other additions or corrections that need a motion to? Anything else? All right, is there a motion to approve?
So made.
Second. Motion made by Mr. Morris, second by Mr. Craig for approval as amended. Roll call, please.
Mr. Morris.
Aye.
Mr. Gray,
Aye.
Mr. Bittner,
Aye.
Ms. Wong,
Aye.
Mr. Elam,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Abstain. Correspondence, clerk, do we have any correspondence this evening?
I do not.
Does any member of council have correspondence this evening? I do. I had a resident contact me, ask me about the municipal listing for the truck. They were concerned why we were getting rid of a truck that was described as having low mileage, strong mechanicals, and a proven Detroit diesel power plant, and ideal as an affordable aerial or a reserve engine. Okay. Administrative Department head reports. Mayor and Safety Director, Mr. Eva, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Johnson, members of council. public here this evening. I had 7 emails today from Captain Parker. A lot of those, Mr. Johnson, that you responded to. This first one says, "Hi, Mr. Mayor. I had a concern about the raid on the illegal camera machines. Fox 8 News stated 85 indicators were confiscated, but the News Herald said 35. I was also wondering, after the conviction, who gets the money? The day after the raid, I was in Giant Eagle and overheard 2 couples talking about the raid. I emailed my council person, Mr. Johnson, about my concerns. I'm sending you a screenshot of the email to Rob and his response. If possible, would like this email read at the council meeting tonight. Thank you. My name is Captain Parker, and I reside at Normandy Manor Apartments. Her specific address is 5782 Andrews Road, Building D, 208. To answer that, approximately 80 machines were confiscated along with cash. Evidence is locked up with pending investigation. And Mr. Johnson, as you stated, nothing happens until a conviction. One of the concerns with the Giant Eagle conversation was about the money being pocketed by the mayor and or the police department. And I will say there is no money that's going to be pocketed by me or the police department. There's also one of her concerns. She has a scanner, I guess. And a dog bite situation on Sharon Drive. And also she was concerned about a suspended license where the car was towed.
Been a busy week.
And you had a busy, maybe a couple days of answering. All right.
Trying to.
So, hi Rob, yesterday afternoon over the police scanner, there was a call about a couple dogs that were aggressive and attacked a few people on Sharon Drive. Police and EMS were there. There is a person who seems to think he can videotape any crimes or emergencies. His name is Jeff Cook. I want to know where he gets off videotaping people without their consent or knowledge. When he posts his videos on Facebook, he's driving while taping, which is a no-no. If I were any of these people, a lawsuit would be filed against him. Several Lake County cities have had run-ins with him, and yet he's still doing it. Why is he allowed to do this? He doesn't work for law enforcement or the fire department. The video in question is on the Lake County, Ohio Crime Watch page. Towards the end, he drops his phone and it takes a pic of his face. He also makes a U-turn at the end of Sharon Beach. Another no-no. I guess what I'm getting at is he has no right or business putting people's tragedies on social media without consent. He doesn't care that even if there's police tape to keep people out, he goes through it. Thank you. And your response, I'm going to summarize it.
What?
This was in the public view, so he could record and share a video. If he is caught violating a law like trespassing, he could be prosecuted. Videoing something in open view is legally permissible, even if morally wrong. Thank you.
Please correct anything I got wrong. If I got anything
You
wrong.
didn't get anything wrong. Yeah, about the dogfight situation. She was upset and she didn't ask me to read that one, but I might as well just summarize that too. She was upset because the individual wasn't arrested because we towed his car away. And so that took care of the problem. There was nothing else that could be done, which was your response also. Thank you.
I'm trying to respond.
No, you did great. Thank you. Thank you. I wouldn't have said anything different. The April 24th, we got a letter from the Ohio State Fire Marshal. Dear 2026 equipment grant applicant. On behalf of the Ohio Department of Commerce, Division of State Fire Marshal, I want to thank you for applying for the 2026 equipment grant. In an effort to help provide Ohio fire departments the resources they need effectively and safely to serve the public. Equipment grants are made available to assist fire departments serving a population of $25,000 or less. More than 9,587,000 equipment funds were requested from 565 applications submitted. We regret to inform you that the funds were exhausted before your request could be fulfilled. Thank you in applying for the equipment grant. And we encourage you to apply again next year. So this was for the fire department. Also, I received a memo from Chuck Keeper regarding the NOPEC natural gas pricing. I want to share with you, your residents and small businesses, good news about our summer fall 2026 natural gas pricing. I'll just summarize it. I'm pleased to announce that our standard program price for Enbridge Gas Ohio customers will be decreasing from 5.59 per MCF to 4.85 per MCF for the 6-month period beginning with the June 2026 meter reads through the December 2026 meter reads. Basically, it's a reduction. They have fixed term pricing for 12 months and 24 months. Everything is, the new prices posted on NOPEC's website and also in the it's called the apples to apples thing. So that's out there. These new prices will be posted. They've been posted April 24th. They post the upcoming rates 45 to 60 days in advance. Any customer that calls in after April 24th will qualify for the new June pricing. So that's that. I would ask council to suspend the rules for resolution 2026-R-20. This is the new LifePak monitor defibrillator. I sent forwarded to council. There's a fact sheet and also some information from Chief Pachasko on this. Basically, the current LifePak is obsolete. Once we order the new monitor, it will take about 5 to 6 weeks to receive the delivery. We have an opening on the Board of Zoning Appeals. We are accepting letters of interest to fill the term ending December 31st.
Mayor Eva.
Yes.
Can you guys move the microphone?
Closer?
No. I don't know. You guys hear that?
Yeah.
Sounds like you're underwater.
Maybe he is.
Try it.
Is
Okay.
that better?
So far,
Okay.
for right now.
So I told you about the Board of Zoning Appeals. On Friday, April 24th, our police department, along with the Ohio Casino Control Commission, served search warrants to 2 businesses operating gaming machines in violation of Ohio law. This is my second request to council to work with our law director to update legislation to close these operations. From the city council meeting minutes from October 28th, 2025, what I said was, with the help from MOL Police, and this was the first raid, Ohio Casino Control Commission executed search warrants October 22nd at 3 businesses. Chief Forsyth would like to discuss with council and the law director ways to prevent these businesses from quickly resuming operations. I would ask council to make this a priority to get this legislation changed so that we can get these closed permanently.
Can I ask a question right here?
Yes.
Do we have a draft of anything? Cause I mean, we're happy to look at something. We don't have anything to look at right now.
Okay.
Like if we can get a draft,
Okay,
we'd be happy to look at it.
you guys.
I just don't know what we would, what we need to do.
Okay, and that's where Mr. Senior.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. The Finance Committee, I attended the meeting last week. They are working on revising ordinance 227.01, which is dollar limits on purchases and contracts. As it reads today, 227.01, authority for purchases and contracts limitations. The fiscal officer may, with the approval of the mayor, make purchases or enter into contracts not to exceed $25,000 without competitive bidding. The fiscal officer may pay other routine expenses such as salaries or utility bills in excess of $25,000 without competitive bidding after the funds have been appropriated by council. Any purchases or contracts in excess of $25,000 other than routine expenses as set out above must be presented to and approved by council. Upon consent of council, purchases or contracts not exceeding $50,000 may be made without competitive bidding. No purchases or contracts involving the expenditure of more than $50,000 shall be made except with the lowest and best bidder as determined by council after advertising for bids for 2 consecutive weeks in a newspaper of general circulation within the municipality. Contracts for professional services are excluded from this provision. This ordinance originally passed ordinance 2004-0-24 passed on December 14th of 04. This was updated ordinance 2012-0-13 updated passed on June 26th of 12. Some council history. Originally passed 12/14/04. Ordinance 2004-0-24. The limit was $10,000 back in 04. According to the minutes, 6 members of council were present. All voted to suspend the rules. All 6 voted for passage. This was Langdon, Eva, Swanson, Elam, Hawkins, and Shirley. When this was updated on June 26th of 12, ordinance 2012-0-13 to $25,000. Mr. Elam voted to suspend the rules by 7-0. Passage was 6-1 with Mr. Elam as the only nay vote. This was passed by Langdon, Shirley, Bittner, Jaykosh, Hawkins, and Eva. 14 years since this was last updated, we are looking at a recommendation from the Finance Committee, a $5,000 limit. Knowing the cost of goods and services have increased in the last 14 years, we're looking at a $20,000 reduction. In 2024, transactions of $5,000 or more, we had 118. In 2025, we had 124 transactions of 5,000 or more. In 2026, we currently have 23 transactions that are $5,000 or more. Before the meeting started on April 21st at 6:30, I was informed by Mr. Elam that the limit will be set at $5,000. Now, as far as transparency, I don't know when this $5,000 was discussed. All I know is before the meeting, I was told it was going to be $5,000. I mentioned during the meeting about overreach and micromanagement about this change. And Mr. Elam agreed that, yeah, it probably does look like overreach and micromanagement. I was never clear during the meeting from Mr. Elam or Mr. Gray explaining the reason for this recommendation. A drastic change like this will slow down our business operations for all departments, since each resolution will take about 6 to 8 weeks for approval from council. If we need equipment or equipment repair, we will have to wait an excessive amount of time. 2026 funding has already been appropriated and approved by council. Mr. Morris did suggest that we could have additional council meetings to approve these expenses. If adopted, this change would create additional work for the administration, the law director, and the council clerk. So I would be interested in hearing a good reason to change this dollar limit sometime tonight. That concludes my report.
Yes, thank you. Administrative Director, Mrs. Valentine, good evening.
So last council meeting, I was asked about the warranty for the Chevy Traverse, and the vehicle comes with a 3-year, 36,000 mile bumper to bumper and a 5-year, 100,000 mile drivetrain warranty. And the extended warranty costs $4,300, and that would last for 7 years, 150,000 miles, bumper to bumper coverage. Overlook Park had been closed, as we've discussed, and the estimated time for reopening will probably be about mid-June. Another sinkhole was found on Davis, if you see cone, but that one appears to be a sewer line. We have notified the county utility. And that's it.
Thank you. Law Director, Mr. Zeman, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of council. My report tonight will focus on law enforcement activities relative to the illegal gaming operations that we've been playing whack-a-mole with here in the city. As the mayor indicated, as I think is now publicly aware, the Ohio Casino Control Commission agents took the lead on an undercover investigation. We've been working in conjunction with them, and based upon the results of that investigation, we obtained search warrants last week for 2 establishments, the Zone and Gamers Hub. Those search warrants were executed by members of the police department, as well as some agents in the Ohio Casino Control Commission last Friday. I can't get into the evidence that was gathered. Suffice to say, it's my judgment, fairly astounding. The allegations are that they are slot machines, consistent with what you would find at the casino downtown. They're not nuanced slot machines, as Ohio law has a very expansive definition of slot machine. These are gaming instruments, plain and simple. We are in the process of finalizing criminal complaints. Obviously, I can't identify the individuals who will be the subject of those criminal complaints. We expect to file those shortly. We are initiating those, as opposed to the county initiating those to the grand jury. In terms then of some of the locations, I mentioned whack-a-mole. One of the locations had previously been subject of search warrant and contraband items seized last fall. It reopened within several weeks. They simply brought in more slot machines. So this is a challenge that we've faced. I just want to make me really underscore one thing. We are not permitting people to operate illegal gaming in the city of Ventura-on-the-Lake, period. You can't get a permit to do that. Now, if you, however, represent that your business is going to be one thing, and then you bring in these games, obviously, that presents some additional legal jeopardy for those individuals making that representation. And we're examining that as well relative to our enforcement activities. Bottom line is, if you open a shoe store, if you remove some of those racks and then bring in some slot machines, you're running an illegal casino, period, full stop. Now, in between the time that you start doing that, and when we initiate our investigation, gather up appropriate evidence, obtain search warrants, execute upon them, and file criminal charges, there will be some time while they're in operation. I want to underscore with members of the public that may patronize these establishments thinking it's harmless fun. If you think people doing an illegal thing are playing fair with you and playing by some set of rules, they are not. If you think the proceeds of your gaming are going to anything charitable, I assure you they are not. So you are not in any way, shape, or form participating in just some innocent activity. So I really caution members of the public to avoid these places if they pop up at all costs. You're not doing yourself or certainly the community any good. To try to address this matter on all fronts, yesterday, civil cases were filed for nuisance abatement under the revised code against both the business owners, business entities themselves, and the property owners. And what we're seeking by those two complaints is a permanent injunction against any type of reestablishment of any type of casino operation. So to the extent any property owners believe that they're not necessarily out of reach for what their tenants may be doing, we want to get an order in place, making it clear that in perpetuity, they are responsible to make sure that their tenants are not engaging in illegal casino operations on their properties. Again, these are civil actions, and we're seeking a permanent injunction against not just the owners and operators of these businesses, but property owners as well, because we are seeing these establishments reopen in the same developments that were previously shut down. And that has to stop, in my judgment. And so we were working within all legal measures to make that happen. So we'll have more developments as they progress. Obviously, until such time as criminal charges are brought, finalized. Some of them are nuances that I think are fairly astounding, are going to have to be confidential. But I want to assure the public, council, and the administration that we're working very, very hard on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you. City Engineer, Mr. Parker, good evening.
Good evening. My report sounds so boring. Still no word on the ODNR report, permits for Overlook Beach Park. I didn't say by the end of the month, but we still have a couple days, we might hear something. And then Severino should be mobilized this week out to South End and Beacon work, so that's about 2 to 3 weeks of work to get that done. The land report.
Thank you. Questions for the administration?
I have some questions.
Yes.
Good evening, Mayor, Safety Director. The title of Safety Director, have you specifically reviewed the safety aspect of Volvo used playground set with the layout? And if so, what standard are you utilizing?
I have not looked at the layout. Our city engineer has looked at the layout. I don't see any problem with what we put in. Not quite sure if there is a problem with what we put in.
Another follow-up question, Mayor. Any communication for or from anybody from Vision Lake County lately? Last one you gave was in November.
Yes, we have a meeting set for May 6th. For Vision 2050, I believe it will be in Willoughby at 11 o'clock.
And one more for you, Mayor, this evening. Any information coming forward from state or federal and funding being earmarked from Monongah Lake 2027?
Not that I'm aware of at this point.
Question for all, if anybody wants to answer. Assistant Pastor Nowaka, has anybody contacted Lake County Nowaka? The grant application,
For which one?
Nowaka, we got the grant money,
CLCI grant.
Feels like that.
student Nowaka, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
they are working on hiring a consultant.
They have a bid out.
A bid out,
It's not a
right.
qualified.
It's in our required qualifications.
Correct.
We're gonna solicit proposals and then maybe qualifications based selection. They actually did the TLCI study.
I can post that on LinkedIn.
The city will have a representative on that committee to select that team if you want.
And unfortunately, the city council will bear with me, mayor, administration, law director, and city engineer. If city council permits, Ward 2 Representative Mr. Gray has a few more questions. Aspects for all elected and appointed officials. Mr. Parker, were you ever invited or attended a meeting held by Jacqueline and Chuck at Louisville for the playground set? A meeting that was held with Snyder Recreation?
That's where our question.
And then our city engineer, Mr. Parker, the Parks and Rec Board Commission. A site plan for you to appropriate through the CES after approval of conceptual sketch that was approved by council.
That's your question.
So city council approved through Parks and Recs a conceptual draft of the layout
Of
of,
the master plan,
well, a conceptual,
the master plan for Overlook Beach Park, is that,
conceptual. And that says,
yeah, there's a master plan. Yeah, master plan, but
so
it
with,
lives itself or it's not, it's.
the question would be. Since the funding's been appropriated with this Ohio State gift grant, 300,000. Did anybody appropriate funding to have a site plan, grade, drainage? Layout? With state funding, do you feel cities carry higher standards of implementation? An example would be ASTM F1487-21 standards or CPCS guidelines for specific commercial grade installation of playground equipment that is commercially grade, being advertised as EDA compliant.
I'm not aware of what English.
Law Director, good evening. Do you have any legal definition or specific law as it relates to the city's function in regards to city council's duty to appropriate funded? And when the approval of spending funded by council is legislated, just because council appropriates, does this mean an open checkbook for administration to spend without council approval? Especially when administration spends more than appropriate or legislated. An example would be the 2024 fire department appropriated 1.4, end up spending 1.7 as an example.
Depending on the nature of the expenditure, obviously the current code allows for the administration to contract, below the certain threshold of $20,000. Now, that does not necessarily mean it's done on anything they want, as you know, that has to be properly budgeted and appropriated. To your second aspect of your question, in terms of expenditures that are higher than what's appropriated, no, you can't do that, supplemental appropriation here.
Administration Safety Director, Finance Director, good evening. As the title of the three you hold, Ms. Valentine, did you attend a meeting with the Housing Director and Sales Representative Snyder Recreation at Lova?
Yeah.
And was a city engineer present or invited?
No.
Did the city administration request the city engineer to provide a site plan or blueprint for Lova?
It was not necessary. What you're saying is not necessary.
Then how much of the state funded fund 339 has been spent? And can you provide a breakdown cost analysis of the design, purchase of the equipment and the construction, and then the wall or the sidewalk? And has fund to,
$300,000 grant and $300,000 spent.
you have a breakdown of playground was 100,000.
Playground, like something, 76 or something. Off the top. And yes, we do have a resolution. By the way, we have a ordinance action. Approving the expenditures for that.
Correct, I was asking for a specific breakdown, so Snyder's getting the whole 300,000, 273.
The cement, we're different. And
I was just curious how specifically broke down playground. Cement,
playground was obviously the biggest chunk of it.
right,
And then with the sidewalk was the sidewalk, professional. I spent contractor.
I'm sure we can give you the exact dollar amounts.
Original master plan was given to us by the city engineer, that was drafted by a city engineer. And the grading of the park is already established, so it wasn't, we didn't change anything, like the park already exists. So the grading's already established, so we don't need to, we're not creating a new park, therefore we don't need those extra items that you're speaking of.
Any other questions? We're none.
I guess I'm confused. I heard a couple, $300,000 was given to us by the state, is that correct? Am I hearing correctly?
The grant.
I ran through State Representative Dan Troy. It's
Okay.
right there.
And that's been spent.
Yes, it has to be spent, I have no choice, I have, yeah,
I understand that.
Okay.
It's all been spent.
yes.
Okay, do we have a breakdown of what it was? I mean, I don't see anything down there except
Well,
playground equipment.
it takes time because winter just ended, so we couldn't put anything up during the winter time. And when the ground is extremely wet, we also cannot run heavy machinery over there, so we're.
Yeah, I don't care about any of that.
Yeah.
Where's the money? There's
The money sits in a fund, and then when, something, then when we get an invoice, then the check goes out to the.
Okay, invoices for what? I mean, I don't see anything down there except the playground equipment, and we spent $300,000 on
Could
it.
I interrupt for a second?
Sure.
Kim, you just send out a breakdown of how the $300,000 was spent to
Yes.
council.
Yes,
That'll answer the questions that are being asked on that.
absolutely. Thank you.
Then we'll have the breakdown, everybody will have it, we can. Ask any other questions after we've seen it. That's okay.
Send that to me, please.
Any other questions for the administration? Hearing none, we will move on to board committee and commission reports. Does this here for zoning committee, so Board of Zoning Appeals.
Board of Zoning Appeals met on Monday, April 20 at 7 p.m. In attendance were board members Sheeling, Montgomery, Sweeney, and Freitas. I was absent. Also present were zoning and housing administrator Mr. Snyder, Mayor Eva, law director Mr. Zeman, council vice president Morris, and council member Craig. Given my absence from the meeting, this report was generated based on the preliminary meeting minutes distributed to all board members. Any inaccuracies that are corrected after these minutes have been approved will be subsequently reported. There was no public hearing scheduled at this meeting. First off, revisions to board rules were discussed and were approved by unanimous vote of the group. Next, on the proposal to require audio-video recording of all commission and committee meetings, the board was presented with a letter from the ordinance committee of council providing their rationale for considering such a requirement and asking for the board's input. Following discussion and expression of opinions from all board members present, the group voted unanimously to oppose such a requirement. Finally, board chair Mr. Schilling announced his resignation from this group effective at the end of the meeting, citing new work conflicts. Notice to apply for a board appointment, as you have heard, has been posted per the newly adopted board rules and chapter 1244 of our city ordinances. Vice Chair Montgomery will assume duties of the chair for the time being. The next scheduled board meeting is a standing date, Monday, May 18 at 7 p.m. should agenda items appear. The meeting was adjourned at 7:29 p.m. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Finance Committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. Finance Committee met April 21st. At 6:30, present were myself, Mr. Gray, Mr. Bittner, Mr. Morris, and Mayor Eva. The big purpose of the meeting was to recommend to council to set the spending limits on what the mayor can spend without council approval. With a motion and a second, two votes yes, one vote no, to approve, recommend to council to reset the amount at $5,000. Council meeting was closed at 6:45 p.m.
Good. Thank you. Were there any other board committees or commissions that met that have a report for tonight? None. We'll move on to open to the public to speak. Like to speak, please come to the lectern, state your name and address for the record. This is your opportunity to speak to council. It's not a back and forth with council.
How you doing?
Good evening.
Hi. Staying on? All right, Sean Sam, 7556 Southwood Road. Nice to meet you all. Thanks for your investment in our community. Appreciate your time, your effort and everything. Obviously, Mr. Parker, you know this in regards to South. It's been a long time coming. Been a lot of complaints that have just fallen on deaf ears, and we know the lack of communication that creates a lack of trust. It really destroys that area, right? And so you had said that they would be here this week. We've been hearing that for a while, and it doesn't honor their original agreement with us, which we have in writing, which was delivered to the residents at that time. Okay. We were also told that they would start Monday. So I guess my question would be, you know, even if I could back up for a second. Concerned that Mr. Gray pulled me off my lawnmower last year, right, to have a conversation, because he's, from what I can see, he's a good council member. He was really concerned and wanted to stop to talk to me about the issue. Someone finally took time. You all walked up and down our street, right, to recognize these issues and take note of them. But consistently Southland is not on the meeting agenda, and I just don't understand. I could understand if work is being done or there's something being stated. But the amount of follow-up that we've had to do to find out what's going on, I have a lot of pride in this community. I've lived here for 9 years now. I grew up in a very similar community. I love the small town feel of this community. I love the citizens. And it's very concerning to me. I like to be unseen, unheard, that I have to come up here and fight for what I should not have to fight for, not with the delays we've had. I've had members of that operation threaten to fight me. I've had to endure lime dust in my home and my lungs, which is a medical condition, because they worked at an unauthorized, non-permitted site across the street from me. I had to kick and scream for them to move their lime, gravel, and lime dust that blew into my house consistently. And again, I've looked up what impact lime dust can have on people. You should do the same. It's very concerning. I wanted that to be noted on record in case I get ill. Okay. Second thing is, appreciate they're gonna be here, but what do they have on us that we can't get them to come back to finish the work that they started? Just don't understand. Again, if you make a contract, you honor that contract. So what is the delay in getting them? I guess it's the better question. Secondly, the pride that I talked about in this community. Man, drive down Andrews, the pipes, gravel, steel grates. Some reason maybe you hear the rumblings outside of Menor on the Lake about those people over there or Menor Heavens, right? We understand that. We combat that all the time. And let me repeat that, I'm a proud member. And that's embarrassing. That's an eyesore. I not only have to see it on my street every day, I have to drive through it on Andrews. What does this group, Severino, have over this community? Why is this work not getting done? Why do I have to show up here to be heard? Why is it not an agenda topic until it's done? Very concerned about that. I don't know if this is where you respond or you just hear my concerns at this point, but I appreciate the time today. I would just add one more thing, Mr. Mayor. I think when you first spoke tonight, this is my first meeting, my first introduction to all of you, so thank you again. But when you first spoke tonight, and you mentioned the money at the illegal raids, I chuckled. I said, oh my gosh, that's funny, because I was a member of East Lake Police Athletic League, also Ohio Police Athletic League. I worked with East Lake Police Department a lot. I understand, I worked with Mayor DiLiberto a lot at that time. I understand how things work, right? So when you said they're questioning you putting money in your pocket, I'm not, so of course Mayor DiLiberto said that. I don't know you, but I know that's silly to say that, right? And then it's silly, right? But I think when you can valiantly state 80 machines, you have hard data on machines, but you can't say this is how much money was recovered. That's where the distrust starts. I think it's off base. I don't think you're doing anything wrong, but that's where the trust gets eroded in the community. So I just wanted to share that today. Again, I think you're great. I don't think you're putting any money in your pockets, but if you can say 80 machines, this many operations, why can't we save this much cash and be able to allocate or share how those funds might be used? I think those are valid concerns, and no offense, I'll use the word money, like, they think we're taking the money. It's not unreasonable. If you can tell all the other data points, why is that not? And so that's really where I rest today. You know, again, thanks so much for hearing me. I just want to look at my notes, make sure I didn't leave anything else out today. But thank you so much again for your commitment to our community. Thank you for your commitment and your time. I know it's very valuable. That's really all that I had to say. The other piece I would just add is there's still cracked driveways on Southland. I made a call last year. I was told it was noted and they would reach out to me and they would come and repair them. Still stuck with cracked driveway. I don't know what's gonna happen, so I pretty much decided right back to probably nothing, that I'll probably have to replace it myself. So I have videos of our yards. I did that before the work started. I did up and down the street on my phone, and if you need to see those at any point, I can provide those for you. I can tell you the Southland today is not the Southland it was a year ago. I do understand as a landscaper, a drywall construction guy, that you do have to tear things apart before you put it back together. Can we please get back to the point of putting it back together? Tired of the dust, tired of the lime dust, tired of seeing the eyesore on the street. Again, it comes from a source of pride for someone who really takes care and maintains his property as well. It's my good neighbors over there. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I will make one comment that the reason why it doesn't show up on our agenda is that at the end of last year, we were told specifically by the engineer that nothing would happen until spring. And so that was why we don't talk about it each meeting until spring. And then he's been giving us a report, you know, as he gives his report. Do you have any comments about what the holdup anymore is with Severino? Do you want to say anything else about that?
We approached Mr. Severino to give him an out, because he's completely unresponsive. He's the worst contractor I've ever worked with in 30 some years that he's doing this.
Can you put the,
I would not have recommended him for this project. That was something we were stuck with, me and Karen. He makes promises. He promised to be out there today to mobilize. There's nothing out there. He promised to clean up that eyesore in the corner last fall. Nothing happened. We called him at the beginning of this construction season and said, look, it's too much for you. We're gonna get someone else to finish it. And he's like, no, I have my contract, blah, blah, blah. And now he's failed on at least 3 different promises to us.
Yes.
If I may add, so when we stop promises and take legal,
And again, we could terminate the contract tomorrow, bring someone else in to finish.
It would delay everything though.
It will delay it,
So
but it may,
example,
no.
that if you got a new bid out and a new person, by the time you see the bid and everything for somebody new, we're just delaying it more, so you're kind of gambling at that point.
but this way we're delaying now.
Right.
So,
Right,
like, you
yeah.
can see this year, so.
I hear what you said, but
Something times 0 is still 0.
May I ask one question related to that? A resident on Southland did speak last fall about this and asked a question about whether we have any possible legal, I understand this was not your hire and that you came onto plans. But is there any possible legal action we can take to either or threaten to expedite or to get what we are looking for?
Well, I mean, I think the best thing we can do is, as the comments were being made, the first thing I thought of was, you know, I will talk to Mr. Severino tomorrow, say, you need to be out and have work going on by the end of this week, or we can't send it on next year. That's all within our purview, correct, Bill?
I've never seen the contract, so generally, it's public recruitment contracts, do have liquidated damages provisions and other measures to give them some teeth relative to timely compliance. So, but I've never seen the contract, so.
Why not?
But those are, I was just hired a few weeks ago, so that was predates me. I don't do flip, but I've just never seen it because I just started working with the city months ago.
I have a question. If you spoke with Severino 2 weeks ago and threatened to get somebody else if he didn't start by that week, he was fired. Well, that was 2 weeks ago. You're still in the same predicament. You still have no yard. It's been over a friggin' year. I have no front yard. I can't continue with anything in my yard or driveway until this is done. And if you guys are in contact with these people, how come we don't know nothing about it? Shouldn't we know something too? I mean, it is our road, our livelihood, our homes. And if you inherited this, why couldn't you have fixed it if you knew it was screwed up before you started? That's my big question. You said that some of the stuff was wrong. Why didn't you stop it before it continued?
There's been a lot, I don't know if I can give you an answer right now, please. There's a lot of issues that go on legally, that go on, especially the professional engineer. So you had a professional engineer prepare those plans to put his seal on there.
And he's gone and you're
Right.
here.
Right, I can't change his plans legally.
Can we take some action though, or are we gonna be talking about this in a year? Like, can we agree to something in this council today to say, we're gonna do something, either file for breach of contract or review the contract by said date? Can we get some actionable steps? Not a call them to go.
Can I make a
Can we get some
suggestion?
actionable steps?
Can I make a suggestion that if they don't come out by Friday, we call it breach of contract and cancel the contract, like we can have a vote of that. Tonight, a discussion on that tonight.
I think
I think our law director should review the
Right.
contract
Yeah.
first.
I think our reaction
You're right.
needs to be sent by the law director
Right.
as well,
Yes.
to kind of push. You know, something coming from a lawyer is gonna mean a little bit more.
So he was, and his, Severin was completely unresponsive.
Sure, I get that.
When I talked to him and told him, I said, look, we're just gonna cancel your contract, and all of a sudden he started responding.
So we got.
So I think again, saying, look, if you guys aren't out there working by Friday, we're gonna cancel the contract. If he's not there by Friday, we follow up with a letter from the law director. But I'll get those contracts and start reviewing them, work with, so I will delay on that aspect of.
Why were they hired? Were they the lowest bid? Is that why they were hired? Not their professionalism or how good their work was, it was the money. Our tax dollars are worth.
starts with the lowest bid, and then if you have to prove that they're confident. And I asked if CT did put together one of those lists of other their references, their background. And I asked them to see if there was anything in their background that would legally allow us to exclude them. And CT said that there was not. So they had no choice.
I appreciate your time again. Thank you so much. And,
We share your frustration because.
yeah.
And you don't live there, you don't see it every day.
We realize you inherited, but just if we could start to get some action, versus that 3 strikes are out, right? And I think you said he's fought 3 times. And so, and I appreciate, forget your name again, I'm so sorry. But thank you for saying, hey, that's gonna delay it, but I agree with Councilman there that we're already delayed a long time, so we just, one thing that I asked my team of work to do is if you have a problem, be part of the solution. So if I can help in any way, please let me.
Thank
I have one question that is, I never got an answer to this back with our previous law director. Do we have any recourse with CT consultants who did the plan that was a poorly designed plan? Did we ever have any recourse with them?
That would be a professional, malpractice case. You need an expert witness to testify that the work performed by that engineer somehow not up to industry specialized standards. So you have to do a lot of inquiry, is the short answer to it. And having a definitive answer requires a significant amount of analysis.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak tonight? Come to the lectern, station name and address for the record, you know the routine, come on.
Kathy Donald, DOHNAL, Thunderbird Drive. Has Severino been paid in full?
Absolutely not.
Okay, because that's what I was wondering, are we gonna have to about trying to claw back money? Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak tonight? Now I will close this portion open to the public to speak. We will now move on to legislation for council. Resolution number 2026-R-19, if you could please read it by its title.
Resolution number 2026-R-19, second reading. A resolution approving a contract with Tim Lally Chevrolet Inc. for the purchase of a 2026 Chevrolet Traverse and specialty equipment package and declaring an emergency.
Discussion on this tonight.
So it was $4,000 to add extended warranty, I'm just trying.
Yeah, which is not for the dollar amount there.
Sure, and it would add the additional, so
It was
4 years.
50, and it, 7 years, bumper to bumper, like
So-
full coverage for the whole 7 years.
So we get initial, we get 3, so it's adding an additional.
3 or 36, whatever.
4. Okay.
And then the other one's 7 years, 150,000 miles, and so never. 700,000.
I need you guys to put your microphones on because I can't hear this one from making minutes later on. I appreciate you not yelling at me, but outside voices.
The reason I ask that is because with cars the way they are nowadays, as electronic as they are, I don't know if we have the ability. I buy the extended warranty, seems for $4,000, that's not a bad investment to protect our investment.
That's 4,000 for the 7 years?
7 years, 150,000 miles.
Okay.
Drivetrain was for the 5 years, for 100,000, that's just if your engine goes, doesn't cover anything.
Yes.
Just curious, how often do we buy a new cruiser? Years?
He's been averaging, 1 a year, I think. Sorry, I don't know. He's been averaging, 1 per year. I think he bought 2 a few years ago, but it had something to do with, maybe COVID money. I'm not positive. I was just.
Do we keep them 7 years?
We do have vehicles that are about that range.
Can I answer
I would
those
say-
questions for him? So, the police vehicle fleet. The oldest ones are 2017, there were 2 purchased in 2017. There was 1 purchased in
Okay.
the trailer was in 2019. We had 2 purchased in 2023. We didn't buy any 2022 because they were waiting for a new model year. So,
Yes, no, I'm all for keeping up with the equipment. Okay, for the police department, I'm all for that. I'm just curious as to how, I think we discussed this years ago. I don't remember much about it. I was just curious as to how often, one a year?
He's been averaging 1 year, sometimes that's there.
Okay, all right, no, thank you, appreciate it.
so the reason we've been averaging one a year is because there was a period of time where we weren't buying any because we didn't have any money.
I'm aware
So
of that.
that's why we were averaging 1 year. So the question is really, still need to be doing one a year?
Yeah.
Or do we need to be extending them out further? I mean,
Well, I trust the chief and
we got one more question
the
for you.
administrator, whatever you decide at home. I was just curious.
And I would, one question I just had, and this was about the other parts of the fleet, it was that the new truck had the mileage greater than most of the cars, and I was like, is that a typo, or can you find that out if that was a typo? Because it's listed as 45,860, and we have cars that are like 15,000, 20,000, so I'm like,
What was the number of the truck?
of the truck, it's the only truck we got, which is 573.
573.
Yeah,
573 is still an old vehicle. That's our oldest vehicle.
That's the Silverado,
it
it's the
says,
truck.
Is that what it said?
it says the 2024 Chevy, yeah,
It's 45,860.
What's the mileage on?
it says 45,000.
One of the lowest.
So
ones
something
is
is
the truck.
wrong in that list. But anyway, if you could just check on that, correct it,
Yeah.
get it corrected.
But I know.
Just so I know for future,
I have a lot of fixing for 573, so it's still the oldest, it's still the old vehicle. I know that.
okay, cause like 580 and 581 are the 2017 vehicles, so. And one has 109,000, but then the other only had 28,000, I'm like,
Yeah, I know, that's weird.
yeah, the numbers,
Yeah.
I was confused, but you know, so if you could just double check the numbers with them and.
Sure.
So we can know where we're standing with that, but yeah, okay. Now you can ask a question.
Well, thank you. This cruiser that you're proposing to buy, which vehicle is that going to replace and how?
It's supposed to be the detective vehicle that I'm aware of.
The one with 109,000 miles on it.
Gotcha.
Right.
And one last question, has that become a maintenance hog or?
The 109,000 miles.
Yeah.
Actually, 573 is.
Okay,
Even though it's not, doesn't have the greatest miles on it, it's the one that's constantly shopping.
so why aren't we replacing that one?
I haven't heard, no one told me that which one we were
Bless you.
replacing, so I don't have an answer for you from the police department, but I asked service to decide. To also concur which one we should get rid of since they're the ones working on it.
Okay. That's all I had.
Well, my understanding is that's why we're moving to Chevy because the Fords were having difficulty.
Yes. And also in a conversation I had with Chief Forsyth, he was gonna look into leasing a cruiser. Because he went to a seminar that a lot of police chiefs were at, and they're all talking about leasing vehicles. Has he talked to anybody in the administration about that?
No.
Because I told him I'm all for looking at every possibility we can. To keep our expenses down, and if that would do that, with or without the extended warranty. I'd be for that. Cause he made it sound like when you're done with the lease, you just turn the cruiser in with all the lights, and radios in it, they give you another one. I just don't, I've never leased a vehicle, so I'm not that familiar with leasing vehicles.
But all I'm thinking in my head right now is that like even whatever the amount of money per month, then you have to times it by 7. If we're releasing all of them. And then you would be, always have to pay that money, you would never have a period where if you were short on money for whatever reason that you would not pay the police. You'd be obligated to always have that money aside for those cruisers, whereas like, so we do this 77 year. There might be a year or two where we don't have to buy a vehicle because we have a warranty for 7 years. That's just my off the cuff
Okay,
analysis of that.
I have my own reasons why I don't lease vehicles. I don't like car payments.
Yeah, me either.
But they're just also when considering, I want us to think that mileage is not always the biggest concern, idle time, the vehicle, especially police cars, fire trucks. That is huge on an engine. They say so many hours equals so many miles. I don't know what it is. So these vehicles are way higher than we're seeing.
That's why I asked about the maintenance of the vehicle that, they're talking about replacing.
I would like to see us, I would like to see us add the extended into. This, what I felt was already very low cost for a police car.
Second motion.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Bittner, seconded by Mr. Gray to add in an extended warranty. For the 2026-R-19. Any discussion on that motion?
I would support that. That makes sense.
Do we need to amend that figure by an exact number or?
Yeah, we'll need to have the real numbers and what we're doing, but. So do we have the exact number of how much it's going to be for the extended warranty?
He told me 4,350.
4,350?
Yeah.
We need to verify that before we approve this.
I
think we probably should.
I didn't get it in writing with me.
Yeah, I want
He
to
verbally told
before we
me,
do that, yeah. Alright, so, my proposal is that we hold off and make this the third
withdraw
reading.
my
so that we
motion.
get- No, we want that motion, because we want it out there. And so, but we want to verify that information and get it into the ordinance before we approve it. That's okay with everybody? So, okay, let's vote on that motion to add in.
Yeah.
The extended warranty, so roll call on that amendment.
Mr. Morris,
Aye.
Mr. Gray,
Aye.
Mr. Bittner,
Aye.
Ms. Wong,
Aye.
Mr. Elam,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye. So now we'll just hold it off to third reading so that we get that information and put it in officially, just to verify it, so. Good, that worked for everybody?
Senate.
Good. All right, resolution number 2026-R-20, if you could please read it by its title.
Resolution number 2026-R-20. A resolution approving a purchase contract with Stryker Medical for a new Life Pack 15V4 monitor / defibrillator, finding and determining the Life Pack monitor defibrillator it will be replacing is obsolete, no longer fit for use, and authorizing its trade-in credit and declaring an emergency.
Discussion on this.
Question.
Yes. Question, Mr. Pitt.
I got a question, I apologize. So I did some research in looking into this, and although this isn't the newest, this is the most compatible batteries stuff that we have already. So our current batteries would be able to be used with this Life Pack 15.
Yes.
If you went with the absolute newest version of another monitor, it will not. So you're pretty much starting over. This is one of the better versions that I've read.
Morris?
I also did some further research about the Life Pack 15. Even though it has not totally met the end of its service life, parts are still available, they still market it. It depends on when this one that they're replacing was built as to whether or not it is real close to the end of life. For the monitor, and judging from the fact that I'm sure it's near that point, I would recommend we pass this. But it is gonna take some time to get it in and get everything squared away with it.
Good.
I first of all just wanted to make sure that the fire chief knew that I appreciated the documentation that was put together in terms of the briefing on what we were getting, why we are getting it, and all of that. That was very helpful, and it answered a ton of my questions before we even got here tonight. The question I do have actually is more from the administrative side of this. So I remember from our appropriations spreadsheet, and again, I'm not trying to micromanage our appropriations, it's just that we had estimated 30,000 for the purchase of the new Life Pack. 20,000 of that was coming from the opioid settlement fund, that's 228. And then the additional 10 was gonna come from the fire department equipment appropriation, which I believe is 5754. But we're looking now with our trade-in at a total of over 47 and a half, so that's $17,500 above our planned appropriation. I think some of the fire department equipment auction proceeds, we're supposed to help it, yeah, where are we, are we okay with that, or where we
My
get?
recollection that it was always that it was 50,000.
Okay,
30,000 was coming out of the equipment, 20,000 was
Okay.
coming out of both.
all right. That solves that,
Okay.
that question, thank you.
Okay, anything else?
Motion to suspend.
Motion made by Mr. Bittner,
Second.
second by Mr. Gray for suspension of the rules. Roll call, please.
Mr. Morris.
Aye.
Mr. Gray.
Aye.
Mr. Bittner.
Aye.
Ms. Wong.
Aye.
Mr. Elam.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Bittner, second by Mr. Morris for passage. Roll call, please.
Mr. Morris.
Aye.
Mr. Gray.
Aye.
Mr. Bittner.
Aye.
Ms. Wong.
Aye.
Mr. Elam.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye. Resolution passes. Old business, do we have any old business tonight? New business?
Yes, new business. I know that we're just starting in the early stages of NeoPac and deal with them. I was just curious if the ordinance committee would be interested in bringing back forward. Since streetscaping is in the title of this NeoPac funding grant application, and we want to bring back trees to the ordinance.
Wait, I'm sorry, what grant funding?
The NeoPac planning grant,
Oh, AXA?
no, I know,
Yes.
if we want to bring back ordinance about trees in the right way.
Mr. Bittner hates trees. Yes. I do that.
And I'm sorry, what your concern is that if we decide to go that way, we are
For the
currently.
benefit of streetscaping,
Uh-huh.
I need scape a tree, street, don't have trees. It's forbidden right now in our ordinance now.
Well, there's limits to what you can have, because I made sure there was still ability to
We're
have,
still allowed to have them.
but it's much more limited to what you can have and where. It's complicated. But he didn't want any, so I had to get something out of it.
Yeah, so.
We compromised.
Bring it back up, it might be gone.
Bless you.
So do you guys want to review that ordinance at all, or it doesn't look like she's shaking her head, no, like,
In light of the legislation, we need to really look at the payment stuff right now, as well with the other legislation we have. I know it's not even perspective, it's a very. For you, it's very,
I think if a serious conflict comes up between what is recommended in the plan that everybody likes, I think we could revisit an ordinance if we had to do it at that time, but absent an actual plan we're looking at, I don't see why we're to address that right now.
Good. Anything else? Good. Open to the public speak, if you'd like to speak, please come to the lectern, state your name and address for the record. Again, this is your opportunity to speak to council. It's not a back and forth with council, unless I decided this.
Say that again.
Does it really?
You can quiet it. Anybody?
I didn't get it all.
Nobody? Really? Okay. We will close this portion over the public speak. We'll go on to announcements and settings of meetings. See, we have a safety presentation in the community room on Wednesday, May 6th, 2026 at 7 p.m. Who has a meeting they want to schedule? The next regular meeting of council will be May 12th, 2026 at 7 p.m. Other meetings,
Parks and Recs.
Parks and Rec,
14 at 6:30.
the 14th at 6:30. Right here.
Community development, we'll hold a meeting, May 7th at 6:30. The line of question was if anybody contacted Lake County's, NOACA. NOACA. I actually have made contact with John Plesnick. He will be here Thursday, May 7th at 6:30. I'm just curious if anybody would wanna add insight, alignment with Lake County's vision. So a question about the Lake County vision plan. Make sure we're not aligned with Lake County's vision, but still staying with our plan and the comprehensive plan. And if future funding, because funding is available in streetscape, sidewalks and curbing. What's the process to keep us in the mind of Lake County?
Okay, so that's community development, May 7th at 6:30, is that correct?
Yes.
Good. Other meetings,
Well, the ordinance committee is gonna go ahead and schedule a meeting. On Monday, May 11th. At 7 p.m.
Yeah.
So hopefully Des can make it.
ordinance committee, May 11th, 7 p.m.
Want to see if possibly we have something for the gaming to like look at.
Well, the
I don't know if
problem,
it's enough time.
that would be up to Mr. Zamet.
We'll just put it on if we get
We'll
something.
we'll put it on the agenda.
Do it.
It'll definitely be on the agenda.
That
We'll
works.
discuss if that's coming. If not, I mean, of course. The council meeting we'll be reporting on is the very next day. That's not a lot of time to do anything, but yeah, just to give us.
My recommendation is gonna be pretty simple.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
And that's fine.
Great.
Maybe you have like one sentence. and
Simple,
people look at it
simple.
and say,
Simple's good. Okay, great. All right,
Best thing we've heard.
thank you.
Any other committees?
You mentioned planning and zoning is on Monday, May 4th.
Nope.
Standing meeting
Planning and zoning, May 4th,
at 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
That's it.
That it? So motion to adjourn?
So made.
Motion made by Mr. Morris,
Second.
second by Ms. Wong, roll call please.
Mr. Morris,
Aye.
Mr. Gray,
Aye.
Mr. Bittner,
Aye.
Ms. Wong,
Aye.
Mr. Elam,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye, we are adjourned.
Mr. Gray, I need you to send me everything that you talked about tonight. You were so
Gina.
soft spoken,
Yeah, you were pretty.
and it's a lot. Yeah, so either to me, or I send it here or email it.
It's out. I didn't say.
Yeah.
That they can receive a letter. Yeah. Did you want to see this?
Right, so I sent that. I sent the, well, as the chair of the board, so I wasn't at the meeting. I knew I couldn't be there, so I sent a letter to there. To share it at the meeting, so they would know what we were asking. That's all. I was sending that.
I just didn't know something on behalf of the organ, no, people just. No.
No. I will. Hi.
So tell me about.
It's nine arrests. That I tried to explain the background, and what our rationale was, why we even considering this. But I'm not saying we just said that we wanted it and we wanted it. And because I wasn't sure, the reason it's coming up, you know, kind of meeting that I knew I wasn't at the time, because. It's a little standing meeting, the agenda. It's at this meeting. Plus, I. So. All right, thank you.
All right. And I was on track.
Well, yeah, here's the discussion. The minutes obviously aren't released yet, but.
I don't agree. Obviously, that's why I want to call.
Right, so by the time we meet again.
I remember.
So by the time we meet again, we will have heard from, I mean,
That's
so.
one of the problems. Well, there was, they have to try and find somebody, just, that's why it's like, it's better, I'm all do it, but how do you force them to do it?
Use it out.
How do you wish to find? We got stuff on. Except that threshold. Is that it? What happened? Then.
Yeah, I understand.